Right, so we can now see the field a bit better from here. So when it was part of the estate, it was called the garden field. Not quite sure why that was, but we'll try and find out and let you know. And as you can see, there's some pylons that run across this field, which yeah, obviously when you planting trees, that does affect what you can do, because you can't plant trees underneath or so close to pylons. So we've got to think about how we design the forest around that. And as you can see, these rushes down here, sorry, that's kind of indicating it's a little bit damper than where there's no rushes. So that's obviously something else we need to think about, or whether we, well, probably we'll plant trees that prefer a little bit more dampness, but there's also the possibility of potentially draining it by digging a few streams. On the far corner actually, or the far side along the trees over there, so there's a stream that runs along there, and then this strip of woodland here, that's also ours, and there's a couple of streams that run down through there as well. So now we're gonna head up here, and then we'll end up at the top field, which is the main field. Right, as you can see, this is not the field, but I remembered that I would show you the waterfall on the way here. It's a pretty small waterfall, but it's still quite interesting. And yeah, it runs down here, and then stream basically runs down the edge of our property. So it's like the boundary of our property here. Right, now we'll head off to the field. Right, okay, we've made it to the top field. This is the main field, about 13 hectares, so about 40% of the land, probably about half the land that we'll plant. So we're going to probably plant about 20-25 hectares in total, so this will probably be about half of it will be in this field. And yeah, I know the sun is right in my eyes at the moment, so hopefully you can kind of see, but it's going to be best if I head over to the top, and then I'll be able to show you the field a bit better. Right, so we've made it to the top. This is approximately where we've come from, straight across the field. The boundary is along these trees here, and then along the edge of the field here. So that's our field. And then you got this clump of trees. So if you drop down, it drops down quite steeply from there. And then you've got the eastern block of woods. That's where we were walking before. And then these trees here, that's the western block of woods, so we'll go over and have a look at the top of that in a bit. And then basically the edge is quite close to where we are here, along those trees. And this field is, yeah, I mean, it slopes moderately down towards the left, but it's not that steep compared to the slope, which we'll have a look at in a bit as well. So this is kind of where we'll be planting quite a lot of the trees, and we'll talk about what we've been thinking about planning on here in a future video. Just to say, so you can see the gorse here. So here the soil isn't so thick, so sometimes you get quite a few rocks sticking up, which makes it a bit more interesting. And obviously if we're going to plant trees here, a lot of the views are probably going to disappear, so we've got to work out how we can leave patches in the trees to maintain some of the views, but we can talk about that when we head over to this side over here, which we'll talk about in 2 clips time. Right, so we made it to the top of the western woods now. Just wanted to show you this holly tree, which is actually, there's actually quite a few down this fence line here, and they look super old because they're pretty thick, and holly doesn't grow all that quick either. So yeah, and that's quite interesting. So here we've actually been busy here. We've taken quite a lot of the tree tubes out from here already, but these are planted maybe 15-20 years ago. Mostly here we've got silver birch or downy birch. I do get a bit confused sometimes because I find, maybe it's just me, but downy birch can appear a bit silvery as well. So definitely something I need to brush up on. And what else we got here? We've got some ash here. So we've got this slope they planted mainly when they replanted it. They planted silver birch and ash, and there's a few oak and a few beech, but they don't seem to be growing as well. So I think before they replanted it, it was just part of the field, except there's some really big old sycamore trees, as you can see here. There's basically 4 of them in a line. So yeah, that's quite interesting. And then further down it gets quite wet. There's some willows, and then eventually you get down to the bottom of the woods where we were before, where it's quite damp, but you got a greater variety of different trees down there. So now we're gonna head over there, so you can just about see these trees here. They're the ones we could see from the top of the hill, so we're gonna head over there. Right, so we made it over to that group of trees, as you can tell by the shadow on the ground here. So this is somewhere we've been calling the amphitheater, nicknaming. Basically, it's kind of hard to see it on the screen here, but from this point, if you go around here and then across here and then down here, it's kind of a similar height. And then in the middle, there's obviously like a bowl, a flatter area. So if I drop down a bit, you should maybe be able to see a bit better. So you can see there's some rock here and across here and over there, and then on the opposite side it kind of just drops away slightly and down the slope over there. And we're gonna head over this way, up this slight rise. It's a bit rockier over here. There's a big old beech tree over here, and we're heading over to the steeper part of the slope. And these trees are just coming into sight now. So that's the eastern block of woodland that we were walking in before. Just drop down here, so you can see it's much steeper here. So this is one potential place that we could not plant any trees to preserve the views. And obviously, if it's steeper, we have to leave a smaller area free of trees to maintain those views. And there's obviously lots of different factors that go into that sort of decision. Where else you can plant trees on the side, the type of soils you've got, the type of trees you're trying to plant. So, and like other biodiversity factors. So that's obviously something we can talk about in a future video. The other thing to mention here is you can see all this brown area here. So that's bracken. That's something that grows every year, and it's something that doesn't work so well when you're planting new trees because it affects the growth of the new trees. So that's something that we will be looking to control, and we'll do a film about that later on to talk more about that. So that kind of brings us to the end of the tour of the land. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you want to keep up to date on our progress, then if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll get notifications about when we have new videos coming out. And apart from that, I just want to say see you in the next video.